Hey guys, so I am back and today I'm going to be doing things a little bit different than my usual motovlog stuff. And I'm going to be answering questions that I've been asked through DMs and comments periodically over time. So probably let you guys get to know me a little bit better and kind of ease my way into my winter content format where it's going to be more talking head, product stuff, and probably highlight reels and various things over the winter season, but let's just make the best of it. So starting off with the first question that I do get a lot is, how old are you? When I do tell people my age, they're actually very surprised, but I am actually 30 turning 31 turning 31 in November of this year. So depending on when this gets uploaded, I may already be 30 or I haven't turned 30 yet. But yes, I look very much quite so like I'm in my early 20s, but I am just on the cusp or just hit the cusp of 30. Next up on that list of questions is, what is your dream bike? So that's a tough one because there's so many variations of what I could ride, but I will say that my dream bike would probably be the modern gen CBR or Honda CBR Fireblade RRR. Honestly, it doesn't have to be an SP, it could just be the base model. Fireblade. I truly just love Hondas. That's kind of where my name originated from, so that would probably be my go-to when it comes to the sense of dream bike. But then there are like cruisers, dirt bikes. I do want to venture off into different things, so that's kind of where I am right now. Next up, how long have you been riding? I have been consistently riding like season after season now for 3-4 years. And by consistently like fully riding, I mean like licensed, insured bike for past 3 to 4 years. Don't quote me to that. Time all starts to blend together as you get older. I get this one a lot. Do you wear gear all the time? If you can see on the back wall there, I do have a bunch of gear. Be very transparent for you. You should wear gear all the time. Do I do it? No. And I do understand the consequence that comes with that. But for me, sometimes it really depends on where I'm going. And I know anything can happen within a 5-minute ride, but it's personal preference. So for anyone that's going to be a gear police and say, I don't want to listen to this guy, he doesn't wear gear all the time. Nobody's perfect, but I do have gear that I do like, branching from ride rich to speed and strength in like actual gear that I do wear more now because it's aesthetically pleasing to me, it's comfortable, it's lightweight, it's breathable, so I try to wear it as much as possible. Next up on that list of questions for you guys is, what was the first bike you owned? So the first bike that I truly owned in my name, registered to me, would have been my CBR, my 2021 CBR 650R. It was black. I honestly loved it. My cousin had the 2019 in the red, and I saw it and I was like, hey, this is absolutely perfect. I love this. This is what I want to have as my first bike. That's mine. Nobody else is tied to it, so that was the first one I got. Now, if we're going to the concept of what was the first bike that you really put under you and you start to really ride on, it would be a 2012 Hayongsung, however you pronounce it, Hayongsung 250 GTR, I believe. It's honestly a very stylish beginner bike. I think it comes from the Suzuki platform because when I was looking for parts, a lot of it was originating from Suzuki. Still a great bike. Now, do you want a liter bike? Yes, I do want a liter bike, but at this current time with my ZX6R that I currently have right now, I don't think I've maxed out my ability on it. And I don't want to say that's a good reason as to upgrade or not to upgrade. I just find this very accommodating for my everyday use. Going to work, meeting friends. So let's try this again. Going to work, meeting friends, heading to the gym, cruising, making content. It's simple. I get to go through all the gears. I'm still learning to maneuver it down to a T. So there's a lot of room for me to grow on it before I get a liter bike, which does transition back to the other question that yes, once I do get the ability to get the bike I want, my dream bike is the CBR Fireblade. Have you crashed? Yes. 3.5 times. First crash was a very small one. Buddy's bike kind of slid from underneath him, clipped my rear right side. Bike kind of jerked forward, but I didn't crash. I kind of just put the bike down. I was like, I can't try and hold this up as it's falling. So I laid it down, no damage, or slight damage. It was like, honestly, I scuffed the fairing on the left-hand side of the bike. After that, 2 more were honestly rider error. Got really comfortable up on some back roads going up north. Shouldn't have been in the lane that I was in, and I just had to ditch the bike. Other one, highway coming back, a truck swerved into my lane. The back end just kind of swung out on me and resulted in me just kind of laying the bike down. Tried to save it, honestly. Tried to save it, couldn't, and just the way it is. Next up on this list is, are you from the US? No, I am not from the US, to be very honest with you. I am from Ontario, Canada. I don't want to say Toronto because I kind of want to differentiate myself, but just outside of Toronto, in like the suburbs. Everybody knows Toronto around the world, or I hope they do if you know some geography. But I live just outside of Toronto, just the main city. To be very honest, could care less for Toronto or downtown Toronto. It's too busy for me. But if anybody does ask, or people do ask a lot of times, I do want to be able to go to the States, live somewhere where it's warm, so I can really utilize bikes and fun summer weather as much as I can as possible. What bikes have you owned? So, if we're specifically saying owned in my name, then I have owned let's start in order. I've owned the CBR 650R. I've owned the well, we'll get to that. I've owned the Suzuki Gixxer 750. Love that bike. It's literally just bike. And then I've owned the ZX6R that basically I'm slowly becoming known for now. But if we're gonna say bikes that I had in my possession and I utilized, the Hyungsung 250, then there was an R3, then there was the 08 CBR 600 RR, iconic for me. And then, then I went into those sagas of what were actually registered in my name and insured. You have a bunch of helmets. Start this again. You have a bunch of helmets. What one is your favorite? So yes, hopefully the camera picks it up, but I have a lot of helmets. But if we're gonna talk favorites, ones that I love the most, or the one that I love the most, it is that lovely one right there in the middle. That is my Speed and Strength Lunatic Fringe. I crashed in it, asked him to send me a whole nother one because I honestly really did love that helmet. Safety-wise, price-wise, styling-wise, it's different, but that would be my #1 helmet because of the styling, the safety, and they were honestly a big supporter of me when I first started out really getting into making content. So that is my favorite helmet. You guys will probably see me wear the SMK, one of the SMKs or a KYT. It's just because I haven't gotten the bigger size in the Lunatic Fringe since I've grown my hair out. I have dreads now, so it makes it harder to put my helmet on. Moving on. What do you shoot content with? So, simply put, either my phone, it is a Samsung S24 Ultra, or I use my Sony ZV-E10 Mark II with Sigma. I'm gonna tell you, bear with me here. It is my Sony ZV-E10 Mark II with a Sigma 18 to 50 millimeter zoom lens with the f-stop of f2.8. That's literally what I film my content with. A lot of everything else is shot with the Insta360 X4, Insta360 Go 3S, Insta360 Ace Pro. Those would be like my main things for shooting my content with. It really just depends on what I'm shooting, how I plan to shoot for the day, but those would be my kind of the cameras I use to make my content. Do you run from the police? No, I don't run from the police, but to be very honest with you, and I quote this, if I was already going 220 kilometers per hour, pass, you know, said individuals, I might as well just keep going because whatever happens, happens at that point. So do I encourage it? No. But hey, if, like I said, if you're already doing it, you know, you've already committed to the crime. I don't promote it, but you've already committed to it. Have you done track before? No, I haven't done track. But as you can see, I have my tracksuit. I'm pointing at it properly, right there. I do get a tracksuit. I have my helmets. I have the boots. I have the gloves. So I do plan to do track. Hopefully next season, Speed and Strength does, I think, endorse some track days. So I'll be glad to take part in one of those track days and hopefully get some footage and show you guys. I've dived into trail riding, been on dirt bikes. Honestly, I've done so much street riding that I'm like, I might as well give track a go. So that is on my list of things to do for next season. And lastly, the most common question I get is, what's a good beginner bike? I can't tell you what is a good beginner bike. And my buddy Storm 6R kind of really touched on it and used a great analogy that a beginner bike is based off of your maturity and what's in your budget. He said something along the lines of, when you get your license and it's time for you to buy a car, you don't ask anybody what's a good beginner car. You get a car that fits within your budget and you learn to drive appropriately within your skill level. You don't get out and start swerving through lanes and trying to drift your car right off the bat. Some people do, some people don't, but majority of people don't do that. If you're mature enough to go ahead and purchase the bike and take the appropriate steps to learn and be mature in that learning process, then 100%. You could really start on anything. But if someone that's never touched a motorcycle, but they do plan to take all the correct steps, get your license, get your endorsement, or get your next step, do the training course, I would recommend starting on anything from a Kawasaki Ninja 400 to a CBR 500, and that would be the sweet spot, I would say, to really learn on. Do not listen to anybody that says you're gonna get bored of it. Bro, you can't get bored of a motorcycle. I don't care what anyone says. They are amazing for everything. So with that being said, hopefully anybody out there that watched this, I answered a lot of your questions. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I'm open to basically explaining how I set my cameras up, what settings I use for whatever cameras, what I have in my garage, favorite helmets, favorite gear, my opinions on motorcycles. I'm gonna be covering that all this winter because I live in Canada and we can't ride in the winter. So next step will probably be a breakdown of how I put, you can't see it, but it's here, how I put this motorcycle away. But other than that, as I say in all my other videos, peace, people.